So before we end this interview, there's another very interesting thing that I read in the Stanford Social Review, and I thought you're the best person to kind of discuss this with. They say that we transitioned from the term charity to nonprofit in the 20th century, and now it's time to evolve and create an even more fitting title for the sector. Although philanthropists and social impact organizations differ in many ways, from their approaches to funding to the levels of transparency and innovation, the sector collectively seems to agree on one thing. The word nonprofit isn't cutting it. Suzanne Perry, she wrote in 2008, why should groups describe themselves by what they're not? And that was very interesting to me. Nonprofit professionals, after all, don't focus their energy on not enriching their shareholders, as the word implies. Giving social good organizations a more fitting title could energize the sector and spur greater innovation and ambition. And this, she said, in 2008. You're sitting in 2018, so it's been a decade. And so isn't that very interesting that we're still calling it nonprofit?
It is,
Yeah.
and I think there is that stigma with it. And you introduce yourself, it's some function, and you say, I'm in nonprofit, and people almost say, I'm sorry.
Right, yeah.
And that's not the reality.
Right.
I mean, there are excellent positions that you can make this your career. This is a thing. And I think that giving it its own name, it has been helpful in presenting identity within the sector, but when relating to others and sort of laying that groundwork for an truly understanding of what that sector does, I think that the current names aren't doing it justice, and it is time to evolve into something else.
So what can that something else be?
I think that the name needs to be something familiar to people outside of the nonprofit sector, so they have an inherent understanding of what the role actually is. So there's a background that they can bring, an understanding within their own mind that they can bring to this new term. So I would propose something along the lines of having to do with engineering, because that's truly what a nonprofit leader does, is that there's a lot of laying blueprints, and there's a lot of communication, and there's a lot of building, and all of those things, in my mind, when you say engineer, that speaks to me, and I have an understanding of what that role is based on my prior background knowledge of what I think an engineer is.
Right.
And so I would propose social engineer.
Mm-hmm. Social engineer, okay.
Or maybe you know what a civil engineer does.
Yeah.
Maybe a civic engineer. So it's, again, building that community, not necessarily always with a tangible structure, but a structure that we can build upon for growth and supporting our community.
Yeah, that's interesting. We would like to hear from people watching this. What do you think is a more apt name for nonprofit? And I'm going to end this interview here, but we're going to continue our discussion offline. So thank you everyone for watching this. Thanks, Emily, for coming on Pharma Stories.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I've enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, thank you.